Two cars race down the road, one clearly chasing the other. The car in front is driven by a woman who is desperately trying to get away. The man behind her keeps trying to force her to stop, but instead she steps harder on the gas, doing everything she can to avoid getting caught by this stranger following her. The situation gets worse when the man leans out of his window, pointing a gun at her and threatening to shoot. Terrified, the woman stays inside her car, frozen in panic. A moment later, the masked man smashes her window and almost manages to drag her out. Right at that moment, a man named Randall happens to be driving by. Without thinking twice, he pulls over and rushes toward the masked man, stepping in to stop what is happening. The two masked men recognize Randall, and soon Randall also realizes that he knows them. They are former students from Lenthrop High School. While Randall is trying to calm things down, the woman suddenly bolts from the car and tries to run away. One of the masked men shoots her in the leg, and she collapses on the ground. Randall reacts quickly and shoves them, trying to protect her. But one of the masked men turns his gun on Randall and shoots him multiple times. Randall drops to the ground, helpless. They search his pockets and find a police badge. Realizing he is an officer, they take the badge and speed away from the scene. Not far from there, a shop owner who witnessed everything immediately calls the police to report what happened. Everything changes from here. This is the Substitute 2, School's Out. Sometime later, Randall's funeral is held. He is remembered as a highly respected man with a military background. His daughter, Anya, stands by the grave, mourning her father, accompanied by her teacher, Kara. Randall's brother, Carl, arrives at the funeral, surprising Anya. With her father gone, she has no one left except him. During their conversation, Carl explains that during his life, Randall often dealt with troubled students, kids with discipline issues and violent behavior. Because of that, not many students came to the funeral. Some of them might even feel relieved that he is gone. Carl decides to move in and live with Anya, since there is no other family member who can take care of her. Anya cannot hide her disappointment. She points out that Carl never came to visit before, even though her father often hoped his brother would show up one day. Hearing this, Carl is caught off guard and quietly weighed down by guilt. One day at the schoolyard, Carl sees a woman being harassed by a group of men. He steps in and checks if she is okay, but she walks away without saying a word. Nearby, the same two masked men from before sit in a car, watching Carl and then slowly following him. They claim this neighborhood is their territory. Carl stays calm, looking them in the eye, clearly not intimidated. Before things escalate any further, a police car passes by, forcing the men to drive off. Once the police are gone, they circle back and open fire on Carl. He manages to dodge the bullets, while their car speeds away again. Before long, Carl reconnects with an old friend named Joey. Joey once worked with the original substitute teacher, Shelley, who now lives in New York. Carl explains everything that happened and asks for help. He wants to know who killed his brother and whether the local gang had anything to do with it. Without hesitation, Joey agrees to help him uncover the truth. Soon after, the two of them meet at a bar to plan their next move. Joey shares what little information he managed to gather. The store owner who witnessed the attack is terrified and refuses to speak further. But he did mention one thing. The attackers were students from Lenthrop High School and part of a group known as the Brotherhood. With that, the mystery becomes clearer and more urgent. Carl and Joey know they have to act quickly. The next day, Carl visits Kara's house. After a brief conversation, he asks who will replace Randall at the school. Kara explains that the administration is searching for a new teacher to take over his class, which happens to be the most troubled group of students on campus. Hearing this, Carl becomes interested in taking the position, not for a career, but as a way to investigate from the inside. Kara tells him he will need a teaching certificate first, but promises to help him through the process. The following morning, Anya returns to school for the first time since her father's death. Her friend Danny greets her, trying to make her feel welcome again. At the same time, Carl arrives at the school office for registration. There, he meets Warren, a mechanic teacher who offers to show him around, and casually asks if Carl plans to become the substitute for the notorious class. As they walk through the halls, Carl notices that many of the students look and act more like gang members than teenagers. The atmosphere feels tense and chaotic. While searching for the classroom, Carl gets lost until the janitor, Johnny, steps in and points him in the right direction. Once Carl finally enters the classroom, the scene is absolute chaos. Music blares, students dance, shout and drink soda, like they are at a party rather than in school. Carl calmly attempts to introduce himself, but no one pays attention. When he asks someone to lower the music, the students ignore him, until one student named Dante steps in out of curiosity and tells them to turn it down. Carl notices a student drinking from a soda bottle and sees his moment. He announces that he is their new teacher, then pulls a yo-yo from his pocket. At first it seems like a joke, But Carl explains that the lesson today is about perception. While most people see a yo-yo as a toy, hundreds of years ago in the Philippines, it was used as a weapon. To prove his point, Carl throws the yo-yo with precise force, shattering the soda bottle in the student's hand. The room falls silent. The chaos stops instantly. Carl then asks them what lesson they can take from perception, reminding them not to judge someone by appearances alone. During lunch break, a group of students gather outside laughing and mocking Carl. They think they are being clever, but what they do not know is that every word is being recorded by a hidden device planted inside the car they are leaning on. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Anya meets Danny, who arrives in a flashy Mustang. She admires the car and wonders how he could afford something like that. But Danny avoids the question and invites her inside. Across the street, Carl and Joey are busy with something far more serious. They are tailing a group of students they suspect are members of the Brotherhood, the same group responsible for Randall's murder. The trail leads them to an abandoned factory. Inside, the gang is torturing the store owner who witnessed the crime. The scene is brutal. The man is tied up with his hands above his head, beaten repeatedly, and even used as a target for a ball thrown straight into his stomach. Carl and Joey stay hidden, watching and waiting for the right moment to step in. The gang leader is furious, demanding to know why the witness spoke about the murder. The terrified man begs for mercy and admits he called the police, which only triggers more violence. Silently, Carl prepares a weapon. Joey then steps forward unarmed and confronts the gang with total confidence. To back him up, Carl fires a warning shot from the shadows, hitting one gang member in the leg, then another. The message is clear. The gang leader finally gives up and orders his members to release the witness. Before leaving, Joey gives them one last warning. They are not allowed to move until the red laser pointed at them disappears. Frozen with fear, they do exactly as told while Joey walks away calmly. Later that night, trouble continues to grow. Several students from the same problematic class prepare to steal a car. One of them, Mace, breaks the window, triggers the alarm, and quickly disables it like he has done this many times before. They drive away calmly, acting as if nothing happened. Watching from a distance is Joey, and this time the trap is his. Meanwhile, Carl spends the evening with Kara. They talk about his past, and Carl finally opens up a little. Randall was not only his brother, he was also his partner, a former mercenary who lived a difficult life. Kara then asks why Carl chose to become a teacher. His answer is simple. He wanted to make a difference, inspired by his brother's path. Their conversation is interrupted when Joey calls with urgent news. Mace and Dante stole the bait car Carl and Joey set up. They arrange to meet right away. Joey takes Carl to the location where the stolen car has been hidden. Carl wants to strike immediately, but Joey convinces him to wait until the next day. Then he plays the recorded evidence, revealing everything the gang planned. The next day, Carl walks into school like nothing unusual has happened. Class is about to start when one of the students, Keyshawn, begins clutching his stomach, pretending to be in pain. He slips out of the classroom without permission, but instead of heading to the bathroom, he sneaks around the back of the building to let members of the gang inside. Back in the classroom, Mace turns the music up loud again, making it clear he has no intention of listening. Carl asks him to turn it off, but Mace refuses. After several warnings, Carl calmly picks up the radio and throws it out the window. The entire class goes silent. Mace stands up furious and pulls out a knife, showing off like he wants to prove something. Carl reacts instantly and disarms him with ease. He tells Mace there is a lesson behind his actions and then leaves the room to find Keyshawn. Before Carl can reach the bathroom, one of the gang members jumps him from behind. But thanks to Joey's earlier recordings, Carl already knew what to expect. The attacker is knocked down quickly. Keyshawn eventually returns to class, excited and bragging that Carl must have been beaten badly. He has no idea Carl just fought off several people on his own. Inside the bathroom, Carl continues taking down each attacker one by one with complete control. When it is over, he straightens his shirt and adjusts his watch like nothing happened. Suddenly, Johnny the janitor steps out and compliments him. From Carl's movements, Johnny realizes he has a military background. He reveals that he served as well and tells Carl to meet him later in the basement. Carl returns to the classroom perfectly calm. The students are stunned. Mace stands quietly as Carl asks about the radio. That is when Mace admits it was stolen. For a moment, he seems to understand the message Carl has been trying to teach. But when Carl encourages him to choose a better path, Mace shuts down. He angrily explains that Carl knows nothing about his life. His father is in prison, his brother is dead, and his mother is gone. The gang is all he has ever had. Frustrated, he tosses Carl's yo-yo back at him and storms out. Later, Carl meets Johnny in the basement. Johnny reveals a hidden room filled with military gear he has collected over the years. As they talk, he mentions strange noises in the school at night. people coming and going. But whenever he checks, no one is there. That same day, Anya walks home alone. Out of nowhere, a masked man speeds by and nearly hits her. He steps out and delivers a chilling warning. Carl needs to stop interfering, or the consequences will get worse. That night, Anya tells Carl what happened. She is shaken and confused, especially about how the masked man knew she was related to Carl. Carl reassures her and tells her to stay home where it is safe. Later that same night, Carl meets Joey and Johnny at the school. They want to investigate the strange noises Johnny mentioned before. The three move quietly through the building until Johnny leads them to a hidden corridor that connects to a garage area. Carl goes up first and discovers something shocking. Warren is there, along with several students dismantling stolen cars. It becomes clear that Warren is behind a large illegal operation. He and the students strip vehicles and sell the parts, earning a massive amount of money each month. As Carl listens, Warren receives a phone call from Dante. The police have found one of the stolen cars and there was a short chase. Dante also reports that Mace is dead. Warren shows no reaction at all. Not sadness, not anger. Nothing. To him, Mace was disposable. The next morning, the mood in Carl's classroom is completely different. The students are unusually silent, clearly mourning Mace, except for Dante, who sits with a hardened expression. Carl reminds them that none of them are soldiers. They should not be risking their lives or getting involved in things they cannot control. Dante snaps back, saying Carl has no idea what their lives are like. While other people grow up with opportunities, safety, and support, they grow up surviving. They get what they can because no one gives them anything. Carl replies that desperation is not an excuse for killing. That statement angers Dante even more. He insists that the police killed Mace, not the gang. But Carl already suspects Dante had a role in Randall's death. After school, Carl visits Kara and asks about Warren. She explains that many students like him, but outside of school he is cold, manipulative, and controlling. She also admits that he once asked her out, and she turned him down because of how possessive he was. The next day during lunch, Carl sits with Kara and quietly asks her to dig into Warren's background. Across the cafeteria, Warren watches them and begins to grow suspicious. Later that day, while Carl is at home with Joey, Kara calls with